Good afternoon. My name is Simone Tarver, and I'm the chair of the Districting Commission. I've lived here in Everett for 26 of my 30 years. I grew up in View Ridge, Madison neighborhood, and now I live in Bayside. Thank you for joining us tonight for our Districting Committee community meeting. As you may or may not know, the journey to get to this point of having a draft districting map started long before this commission was formed. In the 2010s, grassroots efforts for more local representation led to a nonpartisan community coalition called Everett Districts Now, championing the fight for districting in Everett. This culminated in 2 propositions being put on the ballot in 2018 to determine how many districts there would be and how many city council seats would remain at large. The voters decided on the 5-district and 2 at-large configuration. In May 2019, after receiving 44 applications from 18 different neighborhoods in Everett, our city council and our mayor each selected 1 commissioner, making sure to account for geographic diversity, meaning not selecting more than 1 person from a given neighborhood. Then, in August, these original 8 commissioners selected the 9th commissioner, and in November, we hired Tony Fairfax as our districting master. Over the past year, our commission has worked tirelessly to establish the process for how we would create the districting map. We examined data on our city's population and demographics, and we discussed our experiences and thoughts based on our unique experiences as Everett residents. We are presenting you with the draft final map version A8. We are here to listen to the feedback of the community and answer relevant questions you may have. After these community meetings, we will reconvene to discuss the feedback provided and decide if any adjustments need to be made to the draft final map. Thank you again for being here with us today. So I'm going to turn it over to Nicole and City of Everett to discuss some meeting expectations.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties, so if I turn on my camera, I would be upside down, which would be kind of weird, so I'm not going to do that. But please remember that when you call in to speak, you get each speaker gets 3 minutes. Please stay muted until you're recognized. If I'm able to recognize you by your first and last name, I'll do so. If I didn't catch your first and last name when you entered, then I'll be using your phone number as an identifier. So just listen for those digits. And remember that all of you are encouraged to provide as much written comment as needed or wanted, but you do only get to provide comment at one of these commission meetings. So thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to pass the floor over to Flora Diaz, who's our legal representative.
Good afternoon. I'm Flora Diaz with the City of Everett Legal Department. Just a couple of ground rules. No campaigning for candidates or initiatives. Please address your comments to the full commission. Do not engage in any personal attacks. Use civil language, and focus your comments on the proposed map A8, which is the issue that we're having our public meeting about today.
Perfect. Thank you, Flora. I think our next item would be we're going to start our video.
Yeah. Hey, Ethel, do you mind turning your video off until we're done with the Tony's video?
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Did that work? Oh.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Hey, Jim, do you mind turning your video off until we're finished with Tony's video?
Sure, whatever you'd like.
Thank you so much.
Does everybody see the video?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Tony Fairfax, and I'm the Districting Master for the Everett, Washington Districting Commission. And I'm going to present to you the proposed final draft Plan A8. But first, I'd like to provide some background information and discuss how we developed the final draft plan. First, The city of Everett, Washington is moving from a voting system with 7 city council members elected at large to a system with 2 elected at large and 5 city council elected within what's called single member districts. In order to facilitate this process, the city created a 9-member districting commission. 8 members were selected by the city and 1 member was selected by the commission. They also hired a districting master, and that's myself, to assist with developing the city's first districting plan. The commission members include Mary Fossey, Vice Chair Chris Garai, James Langus, Ethel McNeil, John Monroe, Kari Quars, Chair Simone Tarver, Benjamin Young, and Julius Wilson. The city also provided an executive project coordinator, Nicole Weber, who facilitates logistical matters and ensures that the commission has the necessary assets to complete the job. All of the plans that were developed, including the proposed final draft plan, followed laws, guidelines that extend from the U.S. Constitution in various court cases, federal legislation, the Washington State Constitution and codes, the Washington State's Voting Rights Act, and the City of Everett, Washington Districting Master and Commission directions and criteria. To summarize these guidelines, they include the district shall be as reasonably equal in population as possible. The district shall be reasonably compact. District shall consist of geographically contiguous areas. District boundaries shall coincide with the existing recognized natural boundaries and shall, to the extent possible, preserve existing communities of related and mutual interest to the extent feasible. Population data may not be used for the purpose of favoring or disfavoring any racial group or political party, and districts shall be drawn to follow existing voting precincts. We followed the results of a citywide study that found that 75% of the respondents selected existing neighborhoods as the primary community of interest to preserve. Therefore, neighborhoods were prioritized for preserving or not splitting. However, some neighborhoods were split by precincts, and precincts were used as the lowest building blocks. So in those instances, we had no choice but to split the neighborhood. The second-ranked community of interest in the study was other. However, the third, fourth, and fifth-ranked communities of interest were language, income groups, and housing types, respectively. Thus, language, income groups, and housing types, and other common socioeconomic attributes were reviewed and attempted to be preserved within districts. The Commission's plans generated followed a logical and methodical process to develop, beginning with establishing the district cores. The district cores act like seeds for each district. There are 5 district cores representing 5 districts. They include 1, Delta, 2, Lowell, 3, Boulevard Bluffs, Harbor View, Seahurst, Glen Haven, and View Ridge, Madison, 4, Casino Road within Westmont, and 5, Silver Lake. After the selection of the district cores, several preliminary plans were generated by myself and presented to the Commission. The Commission provided comments on the advantages and disadvantages of each plan, and that included the plans of A1, A2, A3, and B1. From those comments, I developed a new set of alternative plans, and they included plans A4, A5, A6, and B2. Another set of comments were provided by the commissioners on the second set of alternative plans. These comments were incorporated into a final alternative draft plan, A7. Additional comments on plan A7 were obtained from the commissioners and integrated to produce plan A8, the proposed final draft plan. The proposed final draft plan, A8, followed all of the redistricting criteria that I discussed before. It is equal in population within an acceptable deviation. It is reasonably compact. The districts are contiguous, excluding the Lake Champlain area. The districts coincide with natural boundaries when reasonable to do so. It preserves communities of interest, specifically neighborhoods. It did not favor or disfavor any racial group or political party, and it minimized political subdivision splits, specifically precincts. Next is a description of each district. First, District 1. District 1's core area is Delta. It is a northern-based district that is shown in green. The neighborhoods include Delta, Bayside in part, Northwest Everett, Port Gardner in part, and Riverside in part. The largest populated neighborhood is Delta. Two neighborhoods, Delta and Northwest Everett, are wholly contained. A small portion of Riverside is not contained within the district, and the Port Gardner section includes one precinct, Precinct 17, that splits Riverside and Port Gardner. Bayside is split without Precinct 18 contained within the district. The district includes a diverse population of Delta that has a third of the persons speaking another language and over 42% minority in the neighborhood, and that's 2020 estimates. The district is also characterized by containing the city's colleges and older housing structures, and that's excluding the Delta neighborhood, which has a greater percentage of rental units. District 1 has the lowest estimated population growth from 2010 to 2020 out of all of the districts, and that's at 6.85%. District 1's configuration started with determining whether Delta and Northwest Everett should exist in the same district. Delta and Northwest Everett was combined after analysis showed a relatively small turnout difference between combining Delta with a Northwest Everett district configuration and a Delta district that adjoins areas to the south of Delta. The next decision was to split mostly Bayside or Riverside. Bayside was split along Precinct 18, which allowed for most of downtown to be included in District 2. Also, Precinct 18 was a good demarcation point since it appears to match socioeconomically with the Northwest precincts in Port Gardner. Precinct 17 was added to contain most of Riverside. Only a small portion of Riverside was left in District 2 with zero population, and Precinct 17 also splits Port Gardner with 7 persons left contained within District 1. The area contained within the red circle includes the area Riverside that is not within District 1. It contains zero population, and of course that is using 2010 population data. The green circle includes the area in Port Gardner within Precinct 17 that contains 7 persons, and that does exist in District 1. District 2's core area is Lowell. The district encompasses the central eastern portion of the city to the northwestern side of the city, and is shown in pink. The neighborhoods contained include Bayside in part, Glacier View, Lowell, Pinehurst Beverly Park in part, Port Gardner in part, South Forest Park in part, and Valley View. The largest populated neighborhood is Port Gardner. 3 neighborhoods, Glacier View, Lowell, and Valley View, are wholly contained. The district neighborhoods also include very similar median housing age that centers around the mid-1960s era. The district has the second highest estimated population growth of the districts from 2010 to 2020, and that's at 12.74%, and has the largest amount of businesses at 1,607, and that's using Esri's 2020 enrichment data estimation system. District 2's configuration began with establishing Lowell as the core area and connecting the area to the downtown region directly below District 1. As mentioned before, Bayside was split along Precinct 18, which allowed for most of downtown to be included in District 2. And it appears that Precinct 18 matches socioeconomically with the Northwest precincts in Port Gardner. Precinct 17 was not included in District 2 in order to contain most of Riverside in District 1. Only a small portion of Riverside was left in District 2. Since Precinct 17 also splits Port Gardner, once again, 7 persons in Port Gardner were left within District 1. Next, there was a determination of whether to include South Forest Park within District 2 or District 3. Reviewing socioeconomic neighborhood commonalities, South Forest Park could fit well with either District 2 or District 3. However, in order for District 3 to exist within the acceptable population deviation, Evergreen and South Forest Park could not both be wholly contained within District 3. Thus, most of South Forest Park was placed in District 2. Only a small segment of South Forest Park is excluded from the district due to Precinct 33, splitting the neighborhoods of View Ridge, Madison, and South Forest Park. The map shown here with the red circle includes Precinct 18 that has been split from Bayside and included in the northern neck of District 2. Next, District 3, whose core area includes Boulevard Bluffs, Harbor View, Seahurst, Glen Haven, and View Ridge, Madison. The district encompasses a portion of the western and coastal areas of the city and is displayed in purple. The district contains the neighborhoods of Boulevard Bluffs, Evergreen, Harbor View, Seahurst, Glen Haven, South Forest Park, in part, and View Ridge, Madison. The largest populated neighborhood is View Ridge, Madison. 4 of the neighborhoods, Boulevard Bluffs, Evergreen, Harbor View, Seahurst, Glen Haven, and View Ridge, Madison, are wholly South Forest Park split to include small portions, only 300 persons within the district. That's within District 3. District 3 characterized by its coastal western boundaries, as well as moderately newer housing structures with a median year of 1978 and the highest median household income at $83,492 of all the districts. The district also has the second lowest population growth from 2010 to 2020 at 7.34%. District 3's configuration began with wholly containing the district's core of Boulevard Bluffs, Harbor View, Seahurst, Glen Haven, and View Ridge, Madison neighborhoods. Once it was determined that most of South Forest Park should exist inside District 2, Evergreen could remain wholly contained within District 3. A small portion of South Forest Park would exist in District 3 due to Precinct 33 splitting the neighborhoods of South Forest Park and View Ridge, Madison. Also, the industrial areas around Boeing could remain mostly intact above the Boeing Freeway and included in District 3. The map displays the area within District 3 that includes South Forest Park. This is a small portion of Precinct 33 that is split by View Ridge, Madison, and South Forest Park and contains 341 persons. District 4's core area includes Casino Road, that's within Westmont. The district encompasses the southwestern portion of the city, and that's shown in blue. The district contains the neighborhoods of Cascade View in part, Holly, Twin Creeks in part, and Westmont in part. The largest populated neighborhood is Westmont. One neighborhood, Holly, is wholly contained. Westmont is almost wholly contained. It does not contain one census block, which has only 5 persons. The entire district exists below the Boeing Freeway. The district is characterized by its diverse population, with the highest percentage of the districts that speak another language in addition to English at 41.45%. The district also has newer housing structures, a median of 1988, and higher renter percentage at 69.15%. Using 2020 total population estimates, the district is the only majority-minority district in the city. District 4's configuration began with the core area of Casino Road. Since it was not conventional redistricting practice to follow only a road, the neighborhood of Westmont was a starting point for District 4. Only a single census block of Westmont remained not included in District 4, and it includes only 5 persons in 2010. This census block exists in Precinct 42, which splits Westmont and Cascade View. Since the neighborhood of Holly had similar socioeconomic and demographic attributes and is geographically intertwined with Westmont, it was logically added to District 4. Precinct 47 and 95 were added to wholly contain Holly within District 4. The precincts also were close to matching District 4 socioeconomic characteristics. However, the two precincts also split Cascade View and Twin Creeks. Precinct 84 finally was added to bring District 4 within acceptable population deviation, and it improves the compactness of the district. The red circle on the map highlights the census block that is split by Cascade View and Westmont, and thus is not included in District 4. As mentioned before, this only contained 5 persons in 2010. District 5's core area is Silver Lake. The district encompasses the southeastern portion of the city, and that's shown in green. The neighborhoods within the district include Cascade View in part, Pinehurst Beverly Park in part, Silver Lake, Twin Creeks in part, and Westmont in part. The largest populated neighborhood is Silver Lake. One of the neighborhoods, Silver Lake, is wholly contained. The district is characterized by a mixture of diverse population. It is the second highest of the districts. Newer housing structures, median is 1986. Moderately higher median household incomes, 68,155, and relatively high percentage that speaks another language in addition to English at 31.44%. District 5's configuration began with the core area of Silver Lake. District 5 added to Silver Lake the nearby neighborhood areas of Twin Creeks and Cascade View to the district. Now, this was compelled due to being landlocked and not encroaching into District 4. After adding areas of Twin Creeks and Cascade View, population was needed for the district to reach an acceptable deviation. It was decided to not cross over Evergreen Way to add population from Evergreen, and it would also split the neighborhood. Instead, areas of Pinehurst, Beverly Park were added in order to bring District 5 population deviation within the acceptable standard. Precincts 34, 37, and 39 were included into District 5. These precincts have socioeconomic attributes that are reasonably close to District 5 and thus were added to complete the district. The map depicts the northern end of District 5, which focuses on the 3 precincts in Pinehurst, Beverly Park that were added to the district. Precinct 34, 37, and 39 were selected instead of crossing Evergreen Way and splitting the neighborhood of Evergreen. And that is a complete and concise description of the background, plan development, and the proposed final draft plan A8. Thank you for your time.
So that was our brief intro video. Thank you to Tony for preparing that for us. So our next step is going to be, I'm going to introduce our commissioners. So I'm going to start with Mary Fossey. Do you want to introduce yourself and say a few words?
Sure. My name's Mary Fossey. I've been a resident of the Delta neighborhood for 14 years. And I love this amazing city and my neighbors. And I volunteered for this commission because I wanted to be a part of creating a more equitable system of voting and better representation on the city council, and wanted to avoid disenfranchising any residents. And I'm really looking forward to a public comment tonight to see if the community thinks we've done that.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary. Chris?
Hi, yeah, I'm Chris Garai. I live down in the Silver Lake neighborhood. We've been here about 5 years and interested in just helping community relationships and been involved with neighborhood association and council of neighborhoods. And this seemed like an opportunity to learn a little bit beyond our neighborhood and get involved in kind of a way to learn about the city and an important change for what we're trying to accomplish, as was mentioned, with diversity and getting people involved and fair representation. So it's been a great learning process and enjoyed everything so far. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. And also, Chris has been our vice chair, and he's been so helpful along this whole process. So thank you, Chris, for everything you've done. Next, Jim Langus. You're on mute, Jim. There we go.
My name is Jim Langus, and I was born and raised in Everett. Been a resident for most of my life. I spent much of my business career in government and executive management, and retired in 2007 from the Snohomish County PD, having served as the Chief Administrative Officer, working under Ed Hansen, who was the Utilities Executive Director. At different times during the last few years, I've served, had responsibilities with professional services, contract work with respected business entities. I did at North Junior and Everett High School. I've remained interested in school and support the activities when I'm able to. Currently, I'm taking it slow and being cautious with the virus.
Thank you, Jim. Ethel McNeil.
Yeah, I'm Ethel McNeil, and I've been here since 1969. My kids were born and raised here. I've been very active in the community. I've served on the Everett City Council. I retired from the Edmonds School District, which I took care of all of their travel and all of their everything in the purchasing department there. My kids have been very active in the school district, and when they were in the Everett School District, I was very active there. And I've been active since my kids have left there with different things and changing the boundaries for the Everett School District. And I stay involved with the Everett School District as much as I can to make sure it services our kids and it's good for our kids. I'm also concerned about our community. I want this city to be a city that people feel welcomed in, and everybody is considered to be a human being, a person, and that we care about one another. We want to make sure our neighborhoods are safe for everyone to live in. We want to make sure that that the schools are properly funded, and that our kids are being well educated. I like being a part of the community, and I want to make sure that our community stays safe and available to all people.
Thank you, Ethel. John Monroe.
Yeah, my name is John Monroe. I'm a retired Boeing executive. I retired in 2003 as the Director of Program Management on the 777 program. I've lived in Everett for the last 67 years, and like Jim, have seen the changes that have happened during that time. One of the things that I value most about our city today is the great diversity that we have. And back when I went to Jackson Elementary and South Junior and Everett High School, we didn't have a lot of diversity. And I think that's something that we can be proud of and take advantage of as we go forward. And I mean that in a positive sense. And that's probably one of the main reasons why I volunteered to serve on this commission. Is I really believe in our community. I believe in the strengths that we bring as a diverse community, and I believe in our future. Like Ethel, I'm also very involved in the Everett School District. I chair an advisory committee on STEM and career and technical education, because I think it's really important for when our kids get out of high school and that they're ready for that first job. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Kari Kwas.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kari Kwas. I grew up in Everett. I'm living in the house now that I grew up in. So I'm up in Northwest Everett. I lived a part of my high school years in View Ridge, Madison. Why did I do this? Well, okay. So I am when I was unemployed for a smidgen of time in 2017, I needed something to do, and I became chair of Northwest Neighborhood. So I've re-engaged in my community. I'd been gone for about 20 some odd years. It's been really nice to see the changes that have happened in Everett over that time. So very proud to live here again. My dad's still in town, and that's a great thing for me. So I'm really open. I think Everett's so geographically diverse. It's been added to, and like pin the tail on a donkey came up recently, but there's a lot of mismatch here. And so it would be nice for it to be one Everett, and that we all feel like we're participating. It's not all north faced or north focused. So I'm here to listen today, and I'm looking forward to your comments. Thanks.
I had myself muted. Ben Young.
Good evening. I'm Ben Young. I've been a resident of Everett for the past 12 years. Yeah, 12 years. I retired 2.5 years ago from Snohomish County government. Since that time, I've always been active in social justice movement. And since that time, after retiring, I stayed unemployed or retired for almost 30 days. And then now I am the director of marketing and grant for the Communities of Color Coalition. I look forward to this process. I was a proud supporter of the Everett Districting Now. I look forward to this process. I think that the members of this committee or commission have done an amazing and pretty remarkable job, tasked with what they've had to do. Are we going to get it perfect? I think that we're going to have some mad people, but I also know that we are going to be fair and just to all the citizens of Everett. And thank you.
Thank you, Ben. And I think Julius Wilson, do we have you on the phone?
I sent him an email, Simone. Hopefully he's able to join us. If not, I will make sure he gets the recording.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty, well, that's all our commissioners. I'm glad we got a chance to introduce everybody. Our next thing is going to be starting our community comment. Actually, we'll have, Tony, do you want to introduce yourself? You kind of did in the video, but.
Sure. Tony Fairfax. I'm a demographic and mapping consultant. I have a company called Census Channel, LLC. My primary focus is redistricting. I do a lot of mapping, but I've done redistricting through the 1990 round, 2000 round, 2010 round. And so this will be the 4th round of redistricting for me. I've been fortunate to reach the level of an expert, to be able to provide expert reports and testimony in state and federal courts. And this has been a pleasure working with this commission.
Thank you, Tony. So next we're going to start with our community comment. Nicole, do you?
Yep, I'm ready. So I just want to let everyone on the phone and everyone who's videoed conference in that my intern Esther will be keeping the 3-minute time. Please remember you only have 3 minutes to provide comment. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, she'll let you know that you have 30 seconds left to go. And at the 3-minute mark, she'll just say time. And at that moment, please finish what you're saying or jump off, as we have quite a lot of people on today. I think we have about 16. So I'm going to just get us started with Julie Martinson. So thank you for joining us, Julie. Please unmute your computer, press *6 if you're calling in from the phone. Remember, you have 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record, and go ahead and kick us off.
I submitted something in writing, and I pass on speaking. I live in North Everett.
Thank you, Julie. John Sweeney, are you on the phone today? Levi? Jim Greco?
Hi. I really didn't have a question. I had reviewed all the stuff that you've done so far, and it looks like you've done a very good job. I just always wondered where the actual original voting precincts came from, but that's a question for another day. So, good work from my part of the world, anyway.
Can you say your address for us, please, Jim?
Sorry. I live in South Everett, 10523 4th Drive Southeast.
Thank you so much for joining us. Brian Partington, please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Brian Partington. I live at 4809 Rucker Avenue in the Glacier View neighborhood. First, I want to say, looking at all the work that's been done by the commission, and then kind of looking into the nature of districting before making my comment. This is really complex stuff, and what a difficult job to do. So I thank you guys for doing that. One thing that was surprising to me, though, was looking at all the draft plans and the proposals, and the one that was eventually selected, is that Glacier View was not partitioned in any of them, which was a little surprising to me, because we've had a lot of, I'm the vice chair of the Glacier View Neighborhood Association. We've had a lot of difficulty setting up our neighborhood association. We've had it been dormant for 5 years. If you look at our neighborhood, you can see some of the geographic challenges in setting up a neighborhood association. We've actually been actively talking in what is left of our very small neighborhood association of maybe amalgamating with another neighborhood, because we've had a lot of difficulty getting momentum. And yet in none of the proposed plans is Glacier View divided, and in the final proposed plan it isn't divided either. And yet our southern neighbors in Pinehurst Beverly Park, their neighborhood's divided in all of them, including the current one, which was a little bit surprising to me. The other thing is the rezoning of Everett and how the redistricting relates to that. And so in the proposed zoning plan, we're looking at an increase of some significant increases in density along the Evergreen Rucker corridor. And right now in a lot of the plans, there's basically the proposed districts are cut along that line. And I do worry somewhat about a constituency of with a greater percentage of multifamily housing developing along that corner, being kind of like politically bisected along that road due to the way that the districts have been planned out. So yeah, those are basically the two things. One was a little bit of surprise at how much the integrity of Glacier View has been.
30 seconds.
Maybe even too much so, and also some concerns about cutting the district right down Evergreen and potentially splitting growing multifamily around that corridor in the future. Thank you.
This is Kari. May I ask a clarifying question, Brian? If I think I heard you say that for Glacier View, you were surprised that it was not divided?
Yeah, that it wasn't divided. We had a big effort to get a neighborhood association started in the early 2010s, a major effort. It fell like a dud. And then we tried again in this past year, and we've had a lot of struggle. If you actually look at the neighborhood, particularly along 52nd, there's very little connective tissue between the north and south parts of our neighborhood. Basically, you've got a big country club, you've got some connective tissue kind of on a hill, which isn't very pedestrian permeable, and then you've got the school. So you can also say that there's kind of a break in the neighborhood along Colby because of the nature of where the cemetery is. We've got basically this weird kind of hourglass shape where the north is not connected with the south or any part east, and the south it's an oddly configured neighborhood. And then also the surprise that Pinehurst Beverly Park was basically cut up in every single one of the proposals and the final one too. When I know I've actually attended their neighborhood association meetings, they seem like they have a healthy kind of neighborhood community going on, and just kind of looking out for their interests a little bit too.
Can I add something? Do we have time?
Yep, we've got a little bit of time.
Okay. The city of Everett is really configured such that there is a central district. And if there is a central district, it would be District 2. And so, and if there was a neighborhood that's in that central district, it would be Glacier View, right dead smack almost in the center. And so that's part of the reason why it remained that way in multiple plans. The other aspect that you were talking about was the population growth. We're constrained to target the population with what's called the ideal population size, and we're constrained with plus or minus 5% or 10% full deviation. And so there's only but so much leeway we can do toward the growth of these districts. We have to maintain the population of the districts within that range.
Thank you, Tony. Diana Brown, are you on the call today?
I am on the call.
Please give your address for the record and start your comments.
Diana Brown, 1602 Rainier Avenue in the Delta District. And hello, and thank you for hearing me today. I've looked at the AA proposal and have some concerns about the districting in North Everett, blending somewhat disparate socioeconomic and ethnic groups in a way that appears to dilute the voter input from the less affluent side. I also looked at the maps I could find from prior district meetings, but I didn't locate one that looked to an east-west split in this area, although Tony's presentation does have a bullet point referencing looking at a stretch south of Delta and Riverside. So I'm respectfully requesting that the commission either quickly analyzing a district model that contains the eastern portion of the city, such that Delta, Riverside, Eastport Gardner, and possibly Lowell would be a district. And then also looking at the western waterfront district differently, potentially encompassing northwest Everett all the way along the waterfront to Boulevard Bluff. Separating east-west in these areas aligns neighborhoods with socioeconomic commonalities and provides some sorely needed representation to the eastern neighborhoods that appear to be disparate in basic safety amenities for walkable neighborhoods like crosswalks and sidewalks. When I compare them to the west waterfront area that appears to have been a focus of neighborhood improvement for several years. As a newer resident to the area, it looks like Delta and Riverside have been a bit lacking in either historical representation or their ability to self-promote for those, amenities that could help that part of the city. I think it would benefit the city of Everett overall if some of the neglected areas get some representation and development that would increase community pride, usability, and enhance the city's look and appeal to both residents and outside communities. At the end of the day, we all have Everett addresses, and it would be nice to feel proud about the whole city and have it become a destination for Metro Seattle's East Side residents and tourists, as well as the people who live here. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. And then I did want to make one comment. We did look at some versions of the map where we did have a split down Broadway, where we had an Eastern District and a Western District, but ultimately it was the will of the commission to move forward with A8 as our draft final. So it is an option that has been considered and that we did look. I can't think of what, I want to say it was one of the B ones that we looked at in June, but we can, Tony, do you know? We never labeled it. It was analysis that we did, but it is now that analysis or that shape of that district is up on the interactive map that can be selected from the districting website. So it does have the ability to see that configuration that we looked at. This is one of the things that we did right on from the start is we looked at whether separating Northwest Everett from Delta. And I took a look at turnout from precincts on each of these. And the analysis showed that there wasn't a great deal of significant difference in adding Delta to a Northwest Bayside Riverside configuration or a Delta to a Southern district that goes all the way down to Lowell. It was a few hundred people out of thousands of turnout. And so that really wasn't a big difference. However, there was a considerable difference in the compactness and the shape of the districts. And I think that probably leaned the commission toward accepting the northern end district, if you will.
Thank you, Sherry. And if you go to the website, on the right-hand side, it says interactive map. And in the top right-hand side, when you open that map, there's layers, and you can find the map that you're looking for right there. And so if you need any help, please email me, nweber@everettwa.gov, and I can just drop you the link. Julie?
Thank you.
Absolutely. Julie Langabeer, if you're on, please state your address for the record and start your comment. Mac Bauer, please state your name and address for the record.
This is Mac Bauer. I live at 2418 Chestnut Street. I've been here for about 6 years. I'm pretty excited to see districts come in, but, and I'll keep this short because I think others have and will say it better. I would like to see a west and east split in North Everett. For a long time up here, I was pretty content to consider everything North Everett or South Everett, but by looking past my own experience and listening to other people that have lived in Delta and Riverside longer than I have and the kind of things that they experience, I think that there is a very large discrepancy between the needs of the Northwest and Bayside neighborhoods compared to Delta Riverside and likely also parts of Port Gardner and Lowell. I would really like to see the commission look at changing that. I'm sure everybody knows most of our council members have been coming from the more affluent parts of town, and I don't want to see the Riverside and Delta sides of Everett just be continually represented by those on or near Grand Avenue. I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you for all your work. I know everybody's putting in a lot of time here.
Thank you, Mac. Olashola, please excuse me if I butchered your name. If you're on the call, please state your address for the record.
Okay, my name is Olushola Bonduro. Most call me Shola, and I live on 2404 Hoyt Avenue.
Thank you. Please feel free to provide your comments.
All right, so I've lived in Everett for a year, since July of last year. And much like Mac, I had this impression that North Everett and South Everett were really the main division. But over time, I've heard a number of things and talked with a lot of people and gotten to know a lot of people in this town. And I've realized there's a big difference between the east side of Broadway, the east side of the North End, and the west side. The west side is definitely more affluent and has, to put it roughly, has gotten a lot more love and attention, more crosswalks and not as many missing sidewalks. But I've been on the east side of Broadway, especially Delta, and seen that there are a lot of unfinished sidewalks, and it just seems to be not as represented. And it's also ethnically more diverse and has a lot more low-income housing than. I just don't feel it makes sense from my perspective to have all of that lumped together when I feel like it's kind of its own thing, its own section, and needs its own representation. And those on the west side, especially living around Ann Avenue, don't represent it. I'll understand the issues they have. And so I feel that there should be a division on Broadway specifically so that west and east are divided, and well, the east side of Broadway gets its own representation. So those are my thoughts. I would like at least one person that's seated to actually live there so that they would know what's going on. And yeah, those are my thoughts. And I hope it makes sense. So, and thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to my words on that.
Thank you for taking the time to be with us. Natalia, if you're on, please state your address for the record. Gail Chisholm, please state your address, name and address for the record, and start your comment. If you're on the if you called in and you're having trouble unmuting, just press *6 and that will get you right in. Okay, we'll come back because I know she checked in. Ryan Weber, if you're on the call, please state your name and address for the record. If you're calling in via telephone, just press *6 and that will get you right in. Okay, Jill Warner, please state your address for the record.
Hi, this is Ryan.
Oh, hi, Ryan. Okay, we'll do Ryan, and then we'll come back to you, Jill. Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay, I pressed unmute, but I guess that doesn't work. Okay. Yeah, I'm Ryan Weber at 1522 Chestnut Street, also known as the wrong side of Broadway. I voted for and was excited for Everett districts. As you know, the intention is to bring fair and equitable representation citywide, specifically for historically underserved areas. As meetings progressed, some commissioners revealed their own agendas. The preference for compactness was more important than keeping communities of interest together. The commission is not feedback here. The commission is not a random sampling from our community. A former council member and commissioner mentioned her election loss repeatedly and disparaged Delta specifically, warning of gerrymandering while doing just that. The son of a former council member has spent decades against the people in Lowell. Another commissioner voted to join Lowell with Port Gardner Rucker Hill, but resents being labeled as such, making a perfect case for why there must be a river district to ensure we are no longer represented by people who look down on us. Multiple commissioners condescended by saying anyone can run. Yes, anyone could run the past 40 years, and the results are history. Ironically, the only member from the river area voted for the river district, while 2 commissioners from the Marina side voted against it. This is exactly what has been happening for the past 40 years. They think they know what's best for us. We've all heard everything happens in North Everett. Actually, everything happens west of Broadway, downtown, Marina, Legion Park, the Grand Avenue Bridge. Grand Avenue does not represent us east of Broadway. Since the city's founding, the river was for marginalized working class. Did you know Delta and Lowell were redlined, and Lowell has never had representation? You couldn't get a mortgage loan in those neighborhoods. Even today, the city spends more resources west of Broadway on parks, sidewalks, crosswalks, schools. Less than a mile apart, Hawthorne is 90% free reduced lunch. Whittier is only 30%. West is a living and working marina, but the riverside gets only warehouses for Amazon and FedEx, drastically increasing traffic in our neighborhood. No public amenities. Delta has been systematically upzoned, while west of Broadway protects their single-family zoning, only exacerbating the divide between us. In fact, the city placed a juvenile detention center across from low-income housing and the park.
30 seconds.
Meanwhile, they have a golf course. Out of 36 emailed comments, 29 favor a river district. Not that public input matters. As one commissioner stated, he doesn't care how many comments received, he will not change his mind. These hearings are merely procedural. Commissioners were openly vexed about more comments regarding Broadway split, claiming they need to hear from everyone. Everyone was allowed to comment, and this was the major issue. If we continue to be represented by the West Side, nothing will change. No one will advocate for us. The people of the river must have a seat at the table. Just one is all we ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Jill Warner, are you ready? Did you get unmuted? If you're calling in on the phone, we had a feedback loop, so we had to mute you on our end. You have to unmute your phone and press *6.
Good evening, Commissioners. I am fairly new to the neighborhood of Delta. My address
Can you state your address for the record, Jill? Sorry, thank you.
Sure, 3102 8th Street.
Thank you.
Okay. So my question is real simple, I think. I went through, I tried to do my research so I would not waste everyone's time. So in this research that I did see that there was a survey that was done, and it was pretty extensive. I believe there's a total of 6 pages. And the resounding answer was, why are we rushing this districting? It was originally 2021 or 2022. So we have the census coming up. That will give us more better and more effective data that Mr. Fairfax could actually do and use. I have questions about what he used for his data. I think that data is fine, but going live, meaning walking the streets and actually doing a comparison, is more effective. I appreciate and respect his credentials out of Hampton, Virginia. But again, he's not from here, and I gather to say he hasn't walked these streets. I may be wrong. So let's push this back, because we have a census that's going to be finalized within the next 2 years, and there we actually do something with substantial data that will be fair and equitable. I am from California originally. My background is a paralegal. I have a public administration bachelor's, and I have to say I have some real concerns. I've been on a case called the City of Bell. If anybody wants to go and look at what that was about, where districting nearly took down the City of Bell, which was similar to Delta. So I have some real concerns, and I'm watching this very diligently, and I'm trying to get some kind of semblance of why are we rushing this when I've seen a survey and everybody is saying that they want appointed leaders that are representing their district and not at large. So someone's not listening.
30 seconds.
I think it needs to be listened to right away, because this is such a serious decision to make. This is where monies are being carved out and appropriated for the needs of each district. Let's get it right, Everett. Thank you.
So before Tony addresses the some of the data, where the data came from, I just want to address the survey quickly. That survey was created to figure out how to put districts on the ballot to, you know, in 2018. And the reason that we cannot wait until 2022 is because enough signatures were gathered for this to go on the ballot, and it was voted on by the community for this to happen now. Our deadline, our legal deadline, is November 4th, 2021, or 2020, excuse me, and that cannot be pushed back or changed. That is what we are bound to, and so that is what we're working on. And Tony, you can quickly speak to what data you are using in these to create these maps.
And actually, I wanted to jump in really quick before Tony. We did a lot of deliberation to decide to pick Tony. We considered more local people, but if you look back at our November meeting, we did quite a bit of deliberation, and Nicole had a heck of a time. We had a heck of a time finding people that had the unique qualifications that are required for a districting master. And I personally think we got incredibly lucky that we were able to cast our net so wide and get someone like Tony who would be available to us as such a great resource with so much expertise. So we didn't pick him because we wanted him to have the, you know, on the ground knowledge of our city. That was our job. That was really something we wanted to own. But Tony's really the expert on how the heck do we do this and how do we not get sued. So we really leaned on him for that expertise, and he really relied on us for our expertise of the city. And I think that personally worked a lot better because then we didn't have to worry about him looking at the data in a particular way. He had basically no preconceived notions about our community because he's not from here. So I personally thought that was a really great perspective to bring into the process. But Tony, go ahead and talk about the data.
You've got about 25 seconds, Tony.
Okay. We use the 2010 census data, and we have to use, I guess, the most recent 100% count. And so that's the 2010 census data. So that's what we use. Most likely there'll be some type of small changes next year when the 2020 data comes out. So there possibly will be another round of redistricting next year.
Thank you, Jill. 206-474-0934. Please state your name and address for the record if you wish to provide comment.
Hello. My address is 1522 at Chestnut Street. Well, my name is Citlali Zarate. I'm a person of color and an immigrant. I apologize beforehand for any mistakes I make. Hello?
We can hear you.
Okay. So I apologize beforehand for any mistakes I make since English is not my first language. I live in Delta. I know some people here in the commission have strong feelings and biases about my neighborhood. That's why today I'm going out of my comfort zone to stand here to walk my walk and talk my talk. It's terrible that you're seeking to prioritize compactness, knowing beforehand that this decision has the potential to suppress minority voters in my neighborhood. Everett has an inequity problem. Redlining was real here. And by disregarding our problems east of Broadway, you're actively suppressing our right to decide who represents us. Immigrants like me can't vote no matter how many times you knock at our door. And for the ones who can vote, with your choice, you're not even considering working on an alternate map where you preserve our communities of interest. You're actively deciding to suppress our voices and stand there with your power on performative allyship. I come here to ask you one simple question. ¿Por qué deciden ignorarnos deliberadamente e intentan sofocar nuestras voces con sus acciones, comentarios y decisiones? Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Shola. Please state your full name and address for the record.
I think Shola already spoke.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Yep. Okay, 360-995-8885.
That's Julie Wilson.
Oh, hey.
Wrong number.
You are?
Hey, what's up? I sent your email telling my new number.
Sorry, I didn't get it because I was on this call.
That's
Well, I'm
okay.
so glad you're here. Okay, well,
Julius, do you want to introduce yourself since you didn't get to before?
Sure. Hello, I'm Julius Wilson. I've been living out here for 3 years. I was a part of, still friends, and I'm part of Everett District now. About members. And that's all. I appreciate being involved. I appreciate being part of.
Julius, you cut out. You must not. If you're still there.
Hello?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, no, that was it. I don't know what part I cut out on the part you heard.
You're proud to be a part of this. That's what I heard. Or excited.
That was it. That was all I. Yep. That's all I said. That was it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Julius. 360-913-3069. If you're ready to provide comment, please state your name and address for the record.
This is Jill Warner, and I think you restated my phone number.
Oh, yeah. I got some duplicates on my list here. I was typing fast. 206-953-7515. I can see you're muted on our end, so you'll have to press *6 to unmute.
This is Ryan Weber. I already commented.
I have unmatching phone numbers. 206-474-0964. Have you already commented as well? Linda Warbonnet, if you're still on the line, please state your address for the record. Okay, 425-870-6699. Unless you're a duplicate, please state your name and address for the record.
This is Andrea Tucker. So I don't know.
Yes.
Okay, Andrea Tucker, 3330 Wetmore Avenue. I'm a little bit late to understanding how the districts have been decided. I really want to support Diana Brown and Ryan Weber and Mac Bauer. As far as dividing down Broadway, I think that it makes a lot of sense. Having been in the real estate business since I've lived in Everett, which is since 2003, I noticed the divide in that business. And also, I'm chair of Port Gardner neighborhood, and I don't understand how we are split up. I know we're a giant neighborhood, but I need to study more how that was decided, because it must be economic versus the waterfront, the port, and the river. But I plan on studying a little bit more. I've been really busy with work this year and haven't had enough time to pay attention, but I do support splitting down Broadway. And if anybody has any comments about how they decided Port Gardner needed to be in 5 or 6 with 5 or 6 neighborhoods, that would be nice, but I can do more research on my own. But thank you.
I can comment on that, and if not, Tony can probably pop in and correct me if I'm wrong. But the portion of Port Gardner that is currently in with District 1 is a pretty small population. Tony, do you know off the top of your head how many people was it like?
7.
Seven.
In District 1, there's only 7 people. And I don't want to cut you off, Simone, but
no.
It's because of a precinct that's elongated going into Riverside. And so if that area, Riverside, is included, then that area in Port Gardner is included.
And so to riff a little bit off what Tony said, we had initially decided that our smallest unit of measurement for this was going to be the precinct level. We were going to try and do our best to not split precincts. And so there were a few areas where precincts were in multiple neighborhoods. And so in trying to keep neighborhoods together and not splitting precincts, we ended up with a few areas like that. So it's 7 people. It might be something for once the 2020 census is out that potentially if there's a lot of growth that might be something to consider. But with the data that we have right now, that was kind of what informed that decision.
But are you speaking specifically about Riverside and Port Gardner, or I'm really talking about Pinehurst and
I was talking specifically about Port Gardner.
Right.
Port Gardner is split in between 2 districts, and that portion that's split, it's because of that. It's because there's a precinct, and it's about 7 people.
Okay, I'm confused. Okay.
I think it's easier when you look at, if you were looking at a map, and I don't think we can put one up right now, but if you look at the 8-8 map, you'll see that there's just like kind of a random section of the Port Gardner that is included in District 1, and it's because it's because we're trying not to split a precinct. And so it had to go in one or the other, and that was the decision we made. But if that's a comment you want to leave that we should consider trying to keep that intact, we can have that as a comment to consider.
More so my comment about the Broadway split, I think is more important in my opinion. So
okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else on the call that's here to provide comment that I did not already call on and has not provided comment? I'm going to give people just a minute, just to make sure. Okay, so that's everyone that we have on the list today. So thank you everyone for coming. Please remember that you can provide as much written comment as you'd like, but you only get to speak at one meeting. So thank you so much for making time to come today. And we really appreciate you, Simone or Chris or anyone else. Do you have any closing remarks?
Just repeating what you said, just thanking everyone for being on the call today. I think before we get off, we should quickly say what our next meeting dates and times are, just so that if anyone else wants to sign up to speak or just watch it online, that they can have it. Do you have those up, Nicole?
Absolutely. So just real quick, if you do have written comment, please send it to nweber@everettwa.gov. And please let me know RSVP if you do plan to come to a districting meeting. It just helps everything run smoother. Our next meeting is Saturday at 8:30 a.m., followed by Sunday evening at 6 p.m., followed by Monday the 14th at 3 p.m. or 6 p.m., and then our final meeting is the 17th at 5 p.m.
Perfect. And Chris, did you have anything, or did anyone else have anything?
I think you covered it. Thanks again, everyone, for your attendance and your input. We appreciate it, and we'll definitely consider it.
Perfect. I think we can wrap this up. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Have a great night.